Right, so welcome to a whistle-stop tour of my old world mods. As you can see, I've made a few. What should we go with first? Let's go with the improvement images mod. This simply replaces the in-game artwork for the improvements such as mine, lumber mill and camp. It also changes the icon for the luxuries and things like elephants and fur. These appear in the encyclopedia and in-game, on the map, and in the worker build selection menu. It also replaces the religious buildings and the wonders. My particular favourite must be the pyramids. Next is the Raw Titles mod. This was released back in April 2024 following, if memory serves, a request from a few players in the All-World Discord to be able to alter the titles, not just of the ruler, but also ambassadors, generals, governors, and so on. I had great fun researching these. Some nations a little trickier to cover than others, but still great fun in some academic research. Oh, some tribe ruler titles have also changed. If you don't like my ideas, or perhaps you've got some suggestions of your own, it's very easy to modify this, the titles. Just find your mod folder, open the Royal Titles folder, open the Infos folder, and then open the text title add file. I use Notepad++, and you can change anything where it's got the Rex, the Regina, etc. You can change everything. Perhaps you want to have Rome as an emperor. Just put emperor over the top of Rex, save it, and you're good to go. Right, so up next to the portrait mods. These are additional character images for each of the nations, including those added by the DLCs. People of the Wild Tribes also adds additional portraits to the tribes, obviously, while the character portrait collection adds images to those fantastic characters that pepper the game, added by the Sacred and Profane and Behind the Throne DLCs. For those who like to fully personalise their leader, the character portraits mod also adds a few unique portraits for the personalisation panel. Some of these images are a few years old now, so I'm working my way through them to bring them all to a similar standard. The previous image generator I used was a free one. The images, which seemed fine a year or two ago, are now really eclipsed by those I can produce using a paid-for generator. Also, my skills using these have improved. I've started to add real-world jewellery, actual helmets, and spent a lot of time adding historically correct hairstyles for the Roman females, for example. Rome is the first mod that replaces all the in-game portraits, which includes unique images for all the leaders. These are based on statues and historical descriptions of the people from the time. Egypt will follow before I move on to Greece. It can be a lengthy process to create a decent enough image for each character, not just the research on what they look like or adding period-specific clothing items, but also creating a teenager and elder version for each so they look consistent. As I have said many times, due to the large number of portraits I've made, the portrait interpolation needs to be switched off for these mods to work correctly in-game. Personally, while it's a fun addition, I play with it off, which seems to aid the game responsiveness. Once I've created the 3 images, it takes just 3 or 4 clicks in Photoshop to create a game usable file. I've resorted to using generic images for the baby and the youth versions just to save a bit of time and the number of images that need to be generated. You may have spotted earlier a couple of new tribes listed. These are added by the Tribes of the Outer Land mod. This gives 5 new tribes, each with unique tribal units, traits and characters. It also adds a selection of events specifically for the new tribes and also for the existing in-game ones. It does, however, require my event mod, the Eye of Atum, to work. There's a whole raft of new things I've added in the event mods. New buildings, new characters, items, missions, traits, etc. Because of its depth, I'll cover these in part 2. So thanks for watching, and thanks to the Mohawk team for their support in getting my mods to a usable state, especially the ever-patient Solver.